Mid-January 1943, Burma, like the rest of Southeast Asia in World War II, is in Japanese hands. The Japanese invasion had been brutal and swift. First, Rangoon fell. Then Japanese forces advanced on Mandalay and left it in flames. General Vinegar Joe Stilwell, U.S. commander of the Allied forces in Asia, is driven to a hasty and galling retreat. From a base in New Delhi, India, he plots his revenge. A frontal assault on the Japanese army is out of the question. Instead, an elite corps of agents trained by the OSS, Office of Strategic Services, infiltrates Japanese-held territory. Their mission, gather intelligence and harass Japanese patrols. Sabotage key positions. And use the native population as their eyes and ears, training them as saboteurs and spies. The men of Detachment 101 will have to carry out their mission hundreds of miles behind Japanese lines. In the dense jungle, they will encounter giant leeches, malarial mosquitoes, and monsoon-sodden trails. Uniforms and boots rot quickly, and the men are constantly threatened by jungle diseases and fatigue. This is their battleground. There are only 21 men in the original group of Detachment 101. They range from Ivy League blue bloods to safecrackers and thugs. All of them thirst for adventure. They must learn to survive in the jungle, to eat termites and wild bees, and to live like the natives. They are tough, and they have to be, because they are led by the toughest man of them all. Name, Carl Eifler, age 37, a bear of a man who leads by example. Personally recruited by Wild Bill Donovan, head of the OSS, and an old friend of General Stilwell's, Eifler seems perfect for the job. An LA cop and pro boxer, a U.S. customs agent on the Mexican border who made life miserable for smugglers. He can shoot a cigarette out at 25 paces and wrestles with bears for recreation. In a confidential briefing, Eifler explains the role of Detachment 101.
Our job is to sabotage Jap transport. We secure intelligence of Japanese supply lines and Japanese dumps. We land agents by parachute and supply them by parachute. We live with the natives, gather intelligence, and radio it out.
First, Eifler needs manpower. Burmese recruits. The OSS calls them indigenous insurgents. The pickings seem slim. The territory hostile. The hills are inhabited with head-hunting tribes, Nagas. That necklace shows he's taken a head. Their neighbors, the Kachins, fierce tribesmen, small, wiry men with few equals as jungle fighters. They hate the Japanese for invading their territory. The Kachin eagerly join Detachment 101 and begin basic training. The recruits are taught hand-to-hand combat and assassination. radio operation, demolition, parachuting. They already know the art of killing. Their jungle-wise native intelligence and toughness will soon be tested. Detachment 101, led by Karl Eifler, will be crucial to General Stilwell's strategy. Stilwell and the Allies believe that China is critical to winning the war in Asia. His plan is to build a road through Burma to resupply the Chinese army. But the road, a two-lane all-weather highway, must pass through the heart of Japanese-held territory. The road will begin at Lido on the Indian border and run 260 miles through jungle, mountain, and swamp to the town of Machina and on to China. Earlier efforts to supply China by air were hampered by enemy fighters launched from Machina, the main Japanese air base in northern Burma. The Zeros now strafe the U.S. Army engineers building the Lido Road. To complete the road, the heavily fortified airfield will have to be taken. But first, Detachment 101 must soften up the Japanese army. Spies will continue in a moment here on A&E.
You know, our competitor is twice as likely to have a network outage. If you're trusting your important 800 calls to them, well, one of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business. What's worse than knowing your 800 service isn't working? Not knowing. AT&T will call you if we find your customers are having trouble reaching you. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
In addition to its sleek styling and spacious leather and walnut-trimmed interior, the new Acura Legend Coupe LS has the precision of a 6-speed manual transmission, the sure-footedness of traction control, and the acceleration of a 230-horsepower engine. In the world of luxury automobiles, nothing can touch it.
Did you tell Papa?
Tell Papa what?
Does Kellogg's muesli cereal taste like Grandma's?
Our family secret?
Europeans are puzzled. Does the great taste of Kellogg's Mueslix come from their secret recipe?
Fruits, nuts, whole grains.
It's perfect.
Impossible.
Tastes like ours, really.
Good morning, children.
Mama?
Why, this is the best we've ever made. But
Kellogg's Mueslix, the European secret for great taste.
The Old West, the land of Billy the Kid, Jesse James, Smith & Wesson, where legend and myth often blur reality. Somewhere between the Kansas border and Virginia City, there exists the Real West. Join host Kenny Rogers as he goes in search of the Real West. An all-new edition, Thursday on A&E. It's a world we never see, yet it lives around us. Stunning microscopic photography magnifies the unknown in the A&E premiere presentation of Life Sense, Our Lives Through Animal Eyes. Sunday, only on A&E.
We now return to Spies. Spring 1943, the Japanese continue to dominate the skies over Burma. And on the ground, their occupation is absolute. The strength of their army depends on a continuous flow of supplies. Detachment 101 must sabotage the supply lines that feed this army. Make booms, General Stilwell says. They destroy the key rail lines in 21 places and blow enough bridges to stall Japanese supply routes. In the next few months, they also hit supply dumps, oil tanks, munitions. It's just the beginning. Their Kachin forces soon grow to 1,000 insurgents. Operations expand. Airfields are hastily hacked from the jungles. Eifler requisitions and receives his own planes. They are called Burma Butterflies, specially designed for short takeoffs and landings. Forward camps are established. This one is called Knothead. 8 Americans, 331 Kachin, under the command of Lieutenant Vincent Curl. From Knothead and 3 other similar bases, Detachment 101 becomes the eyes and ears of the American 10th Air Force. Reconnaissance teams begin to prowl through the jungles and roam through the skies, providing intelligence on enemy encampments. This is actual footage from an OSS 101 reconnaissance flight as it suddenly comes upon a Japanese airfield. Target locations are radioed out. Damage assessment teams report what's been hit. The score is impressive. Detachment 101 provides the 10th Air Force with 75% of its intelligence. The detachment also experiments in disinformation. Leaflets are planted in the jungle to mobilize the natives and confuse the Japanese. Always keep moving. Keep the enemy off balance. It is unorthodox warfare behind enemy lines.
Our primary mission was to hit from ambush and run, not to fight, you know, as a frontline infantry unit would do.
Nor are they as well equipped. Supplies remain scarce. Occasionally primitive.
We improvised in some cases. We would dig pits and lace them with punzi sticks, which is a sharpened bamboo stick set at an angle. And if you stepped into it or fell on it, that was it. But the main thing was explosive charges, hand grenades that were rigged up along a trail so that they could be set off by a tripwire.
Detachment 101 used radios specially designed for jungle warfare. The SSTR-1 is a powerful, small, and highly portable radio designed for intelligence agents and clandestine operations. It has a range of 1,000 miles. The agents also use cipher machines in the jungle to encode radio messages. This is an actual machine used by the OSS in Burma, called the Converter M209. It enciphers a plain text message by substituting a letter for a letter, automatically printing the coded text on a paper tape in 5-letter groups. It weighs only 7 pounds. Equipment and food must be parachuted into the jungle. Tom Moon recalls,
we had excellent airdrops. We had wonderful cooperation of the 10th Air Force. They would come in low, sweeping over the treetops, and they would free drop certain things that would need parachutes, like money and rice. Their pilots were marvelous. They took great chances. They lost some of their planes and pilots. So we had wonderful cooperation with the Air Force.
Flying with Eifler could also be chancy. As General Donovan, the OSS chief, would learn, this flight in December 1943 almost crashed before landing here at Knothead Airstrip, 150 miles behind Japanese lines. As Eifler tells it, he actually staged the apparent accident to scare Donovan into sending out better scouting planes. It worked. This is Wild Bill Donovan's one and only behind-the-lines adventure. Highly risky for the head of the OSS. Risky, but necessary. Donovan had to personally evaluate the condition of Eifler, who had suffered a severe head injury delivering explosives to his men behind enemy lines. Reluctantly, Donovan sends Eifler back to Washington on medical leave. His replacement is 29-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Ray Pierce, one of the original 21 men of Detachment 101. Under Colonel Pierce's command, the men of 101 assist the Army engineers who are building the Lido Road. The OSS teams precede them into villages, befriend the natives, and gain vital cooperation. They scour the area for enemy patrols and continue to sabotage the land routes to Machina. It's still not enough. Late in the spring of 1944, General Stilwell decides to step up the pressure. Machina has been weakened, but now it must be captured. The group picked to do this is Merrill's Marauders, American jungle fighters who've been training in India under General Frank Merrill. The men picked to guide them, Detachment 101. Spies will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Shopping Office Depot, I believe I save about 30%.
60%.
20%. 35%. Office Depot beats their competitors by 30%.
They've got everything from A to Z. Everything you could possibly need.
Office Depot has a great selection.
Great selection.
Nobody beats Office Depot.
Nobody in America sells more office supplies for less than Office Depot. Nobody.
This is $20,000. This is also $20,000. You'd take care of this, wouldn't you? You should take care of your car just as carefully, which is why you should bring your car to Jiffy Lube and ask for Pennzoil. Your car is worth thousands of dollars. Give it the quality of Pennzoil and the experience of Jiffy Lube.
We got experience at Jiffy Lube. Jiffy Lube, America's favorite oil change.
You know, our competitor is twice as likely to have a network outage. If you're trusting your important 800 calls to them, well, one of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business. What's worse than knowing your 800 service isn't working? Not knowing. AT&T will call you if we find your customers are having trouble reaching you. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
Tonight, General Hospital's Ian Buchanan guest hosts at the Improv. Comedy at 11 on A&E.
In the war against termites, only one company has a weapon like this. The Exterminator. The Orkin Man. And now he's armed with the latest technology. The Orkin Foam System. Orkin Foam is the most effective termite treatment ever. Unlike other methods, it penetrates completely to stop termites cold. Guaranteed. And only the Exterminator has it. The Orkin Man. One call destroys them all.
We now return to Spies. In order to achieve surprise and avoid being detected, Merrill's Marauders must march 400 miles to Machina through secret jungle trails. Merrill believes this will toughen them for battle, but instead the torturous journey weakens them. 100 miles into Burma, the Lido Road stops. It is only half completed after 22 months. From this point on, the Marauders need guides, natives who know the trails. The Kachins of 101 not only know the country and the trails, they also have a knack for locating the Japanese. The Kachins report that a heavily armed Japanese force blocks a direct attack on Machina. The only other route to the airfield is through the Kuman Mountains, 6,000 feet high. Kachins lead the way. The Marauders, half-wasted by battle and disease, now face another obstacle. Monsoon rains. As they struggle up the mountain, other groups of Detachment 101 fight diversionary action to the north and east. At a mountaintop village, the Marauders make camp.
At which point I picked up Merle's Marauders, and using the Kachins I had with my little group, we proceeded to advance down the trail, screening and guiding the Marauders to their destination there at Michino Airfield.
May 17th, 1944, the Marauders and the Kachin launch a surprise attack on the airfield. It is totally unexpected. The bewildered Japanese withdraw to the town of Michino. The airfield, the major objective in the Burma campaign, is captured in 1 hour. But the fighting is not over. For the airfield to operate, the town must be taken, and Japanese reinforcements must not get through.
I was told to head down the river and set up a river block. So I went about 35 miles down the river. At that point, I had 20 Bren guns lined up on that shore. There wasn't any chance of anybody getting by there.
Almost nobody did. In a 4-week period, Martin's Kachins would account for more than 500 enemy dead and take 27 prisoners. The siege of Michino lasts 78 days. Casualties are high on both sides. Finally, with the town of Michino taken, the airfield is secure. Cargo planes can fly unmolested to China, and construction on the Lido Road can progress. Six months later, the first convoy, with desperately needed supplies, makes it safely into China on the new Lido Road. Mission accomplished. The men of Detachment 101 continue their vital role in Burma until the end of the war. For their valor, they are awarded a special medal. It is presented in a ceremony joined by a jubilant native population, newly liberated from Japanese occupation. In the war's final tally, OSS Detachment 101 will have confirmed killing 5,400 enemy troops and an estimated 10,000 more, with a loss of only 15 Americans and 74 Kachin warriors. It is one of the greatest kill-loss ratios in military history. The legacy of OSS Detachment 101 lives on. These men refined a type of warfare that combined espionage, sabotage, and covert action. Concepts that would later be adopted by the Army Green Berets and the CIA.
From stealing off stagecoaches to busting banks. Find out how the most notorious robbers pulled off their plans on an all-new edition of The Real West. Then, could the bear have evolved from the dog? Find out how the years have created today's carnivores on Wildlife Mysteries. Now, test pilots brave the experimental Project X program on an all-new First Flights, next on A&E.